January 29th. Less than $1,000 in property was stolen from an unlocked car in the 3000 block of such and such. Someone poured sugar into a car's gas tank in the 1800 block of the boulevard. More than $1,000 in property was stolen from an unlocked car in the 7000 block of such and such. A woman, age 34, was cited for falsely reporting being a victim of a robbery in the 2000 block of such and such. Mail was stolen in the 600 block of such and such. A cell phone valued at about $300 was stolen in the 3000 block of such and such. Excuse me. About $600 in property was stolen from a car on the 4000 block of the boulevard. 2 cars were stolen from the sanitation plant in the 100 block of such and such. More than $1,000 in property was stolen from the shuttle service in the 100 block of such and such. A bicycle was stolen from an open garage in the 300 block of such and such. A man, age 24, was arrested for possessing stolen property and a controlled substance and being under the influence of a controlled substance near such and such a street. A 33-year-old man was arrested for domestic battery in the 5000 block of such and such. Merchandise was stolen from Saks Fifth Avenue off 5th in the 500 block of the boulevard. A man, age 34, was arrested for injuring his spouse in the 2000 block of such and such. A 21-year-old man was robbed at knife point in the 200 block of such and such. A car in the 1600 block of such and such was stolen. A man, age 37, was arrested on 3 outstanding warrants at Ponderosa intersection. Someone broke the windows of a locked car in the 1100 block of such and such and stole about $200 in property. About $165 in merchandise was stolen from Tommy Hilfiger store off the boulevard. A man, age 45, was arrested for attempted assault and battery after spitting at a woman in the 2000 block of such and such. A 45-year-old man was arrested for shoplifting in the 200 block of such and such. Circuit breakers were stolen from the microconductor shop, the 700 block of such and such. A vehicle was vandalized at a local school in the 500 block of such and such. Property was stolen from a lock storage locker in the 200 block of such and such. A man aged 27 was arrested on an outstanding warrant on the 3000 block of such and such. A 24-year-old man was arrested for giving false information to a police officer at the Boulevard station. Thus, $950 in property was stolen from a car in the 1000 block of such and such between January 16th and January 22nd. Police reported arresting one person for driving without a license or on a suspended license. During that same time period, one person was arrested for driving under the influence of a controlled substance, and 7 people were arrested on various drug charges. One person was arrested for being drunk in public. There's this other. I think there's another sheriff's blotter from another town. Aha. Okay, here's for 2 other towns. There are 1, 2, 3 other towns. Neighboring towns. Okay. A woman, age 41, was arrested in the 4100 block of such and such for driving under the influence of alcohol and having a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or higher. A man aged 34 was arrested in the 2400 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. A 21-year-old man was arrested for public intoxication in the 100 block of such and such. A man aged 35 and a woman aged 40 were arrested in the 2500 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance. The man was also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. 2 men, aged 19 and 23, were arrested in the 100 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. The older man was also arrested for possession of medication without a prescription. Ooh. A 26-year-old man was arrested in the 500 block for driving under the influence. 2 men aged 27 and 28 were arrested in an undisclosed location for being under the influence and possession of a controlled substance. The 28-year-old was also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. Someone shoplifted from the Target store in the 2700 block of such and such. A man aged 23 was arrested near such and such intersection for being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of multiple controlled substances and drug paraphernalia. A grand theft was reported in the 1400 block of such and such. A 33-year-old woman was arrested in the 2400 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance as well as possession of methamphetamine, drug paraphernalia, and medication without a prescription. A man aged 24 was arrested in the 500 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance. Someone shoplifted from the cell phone store in the 2100 block of such and such. A woman aged 25 was arrested in the Target parking lot for being under the influence of a controlled substance. Are you kidding me? This is from a neighboring town, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 reports, like 9, majority, almost all of them, were under the influence of a controlled substance. That's crazy. You could really see the difference from town to town of what goes on. Okay, here's another neighboring town. A woman age 32 was arrested in the 400 block of such and such for driving under the influence and having a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or higher and 1 child endangerment, and she had 3 children under the age of 10 in her vehicle. Oh, that's terrible. A 40-year-old man was arrested in the 400 block of such and such for resisting and obstructing or delaying a police officer. A 32-year-old man was arrested in the 1200 block of the Boulevard for inflicting corporal injury on a spouse or a cohabitant. A woman aged 26 was arrested for public intoxication in the 500 block of such and such. A woman reported a burglary at her home in the 3300 block of such and such. A man aged 24 was arrested in the 2100 block of the Boulevard for threatening to commit a crime that could kill or harm and distributing private and distributing private and intimate photographs. Ooh. A 26-year-old man was arrested in the 600 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance. A man aged 26 was arrested in an undisclosed location for driving under the influence, having a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or higher, and child endangerment. A 19-year-old man was arrested in the 800 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. The drugstore in the 400 block of such and such reported a commercial burglary with intent to commit a felony. A 35-year-old woman and a 34-year-old man were arrested near such and such for battering each other. Oh, a 43-year-old man was arrested for domestic battery in the 900 block of such and such. A 39-year-old woman at the scene was arrested for inflicting corporal injury on a spouse or cohabitant. A man, age 58, was arrested near the boulevard for driving under the influence. A 51-year-old man was arrested for driving under the influence and contributing to the delinquency of a minor in the 2300 block of such and such. 21-year-old man was cited in the 1600 block of such and such for being under the influence of a controlled substance. Thanks for watching.